All right, now we're working on reference angles. And so reference angles, the angle in the first quadrant that corresponds to this angle, you would use that angle to get this one. So the way that you get it is you would do 360, or you would take this angle and do 360 minus that to get the angle in the first quadrant that corresponds to it. Here 223 is in the third quadrant, so in order to get back to the first quadrant, you would subtract off 180, and that corresponds to 43 degrees. Seven pi over 6 has a reference angle, as you might imagine, of pi over 6. Just subtracting 7 pi over 6 minus 180, which is pi. Minus 150, we need to just add 180. So you're just adding or subtracting multiples of pi to get to the first quadrant. 5.7 radians is in the fourth quadrant because 2 pi is 6.28. So in order to get back to the first quadrant, you would do 2 pi minus 5.7. So 2 times pi equals minus 5.7 is 0.58. I think it's round to the nearest hundred. 0.58. Reference angle for 500 degrees. Keep subtracting multiples of pi until you get to the first quadrant. So that would be 500 degrees minus 180. We can do, so it's 540. So 540 minus 500 degrees is 40 degrees. 31 pi over 3 should just be pi over 3, subtracting 10 pi. Minus 29 pi over 6 is just going to be pi over 6. Rest of these from the triangle is going to be use a reference angle to find the exact value of the following expression. Do not use a calculator. Sine of 120 degrees is the same as the sine of 60 degrees. That is going to be the square root of 3 over 2. That's directly from the circle. The tangent of 420 degrees. Well, 420 degrees references, let's go around the circle. So 360 and then another 60. So 420 is 360 plus another 60. This is really asking for the tangent of 60 degrees. The tangent of 60 degrees is the y over the x. The y is the square root of 3 over 2. The x is 1/2. Again, that's all from the circle. The 2's cancel as the square root of 3. The cosecant of 5 pi over 3, cosecant of 5 pi over 3 is going to be equal to what's 1 over the sine of 5 pi over 3. 5 pi over 3 is in the fourth quadrant. This is going to be 1 over negative square root of 3 over 2, which is equal to minus 2 over the square root of 3 when you flip it. And when you rationalize, it's minus 2 square root of 3 over 3. Tangent of negative pi over 3 is, tangent is odd, so you can make this minus the tangent of pi over 3. Tangent of pi over 3 is the sine of pi over 3, or we can just do it this way. It's minus the y coordinate over the x coordinate. The y coordinate for pi over 3 is the square root of 3 over 2. The x coordinate is 1/2. That is minus the square root of 3. Cotangent of 31 pi over 4. That's equal to the tangent. I'm sorry, that's 1 over the tangent of 31 pi over 4. 4 goes into 31 7 times. 28, remainder 3. Going around the circle 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi, 7 pi's here, and then another 3 pi over 4 takes us to the 4th quadrant, right? So that the sign in the 4th quadrant is the x over the y. So it's the square root of 2 over 2 over negative square root of 2 over 2. That is negative 1. Negative 43 pi over 3. We'll do the same thing. Again, it's tangent, so you can just pull out the minus sign. 43 pi over 3. 3 goes in the 43, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 12, 1. 43 pi over 3 is really just 14 pi plus pi over 3. Go around the circle 14 times. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 pi, and another pi over 3. That takes us to the 1st quadrant. So this is really just minus the tangent of pi over 3. The tangent of pi over 3 is the y coordinate over the x coordinate. The y coordinate for pi over 3 again is the square root of 3 over 2. The x coordinate is 1/2 minus the square root of 3. All right, hope it helps.